Good morning, everyone. My name is Yong Su, Ashton Shaw. I'm a Dharma teacher intern here. We're going to go ahead and start the morning bell chant. Being December 1st, on page 14, we are going to recite the full awareness of breathing, the Anapanasati Sutta. Feel free to follow along or chant along as you feel comfortable, and it's a pretty long one, so we'll get right to it. Bhikkhus and Bhikkhunis, the method of the full awareness of breathing, if developed and practiced continuously, will bring great rewards and advantages. It will lead to success in practicing the 4 establishments of mindfulness and the 7 factors of awakening, which will give rise to understanding and liberation. 1 practices as follows. The first breath, breathing in a long breath. I know that I'm breathing in a long breath. Breathing out a long breath. I know that I am breathing out a long breath. The second breath, breathing in a short breath. I know that I am breathing in a short breath. Breathing out a short breath. I know that I am breathing out a short breath. These 2 breaths enable you to cut through forgetfulness and unnecessary thinking, at the same time giving rise to mindfulness, enabling you to encounter life in the present moment. Forgetfulness is the absence of mindfulness. Breathing with awareness enables us to return to ourselves and to life. The third breath, breathing in, I'm aware of my whole body. Breathing out, I'm aware of my whole body. This breath enables you to contemplate the body and be in direct contact with your own body. Awareness of the whole body and awareness of every part of the body allows you to see the wondrous presence of your body and the process of birth and death unfolding in your body. The fourth breath, I am aware and making my whole body calm and at peace. I am breathing out and making my whole body calm and at peace. This breath helps you realize calmness and peace in the body and arrive at a state in which mind, body, and breath are one harmonious whole. The fifth breath, I am breathing in and feeling joyful. I am breathing out and feeling joyful. The sixth breath, I am breathing in and feeling happy. I am breathing out and feeling happy. With these 2 breaths, you cross into the domain of feelings. These two breaths create peace and joy that can nourish mind and body. Thanks to the cessation and dispersion of forgetfulness, you return to yourself aware of the present moment. Happiness and joy arise within you. You dwell in the wonders of life, able to taste the peace and joy mindfulness brings. Thanks to this encounter with the wonders of life, you are able to transform neutral feelings into pleasant feelings. These two breaths thus lead to pleasant feelings. The seventh breath. I am breathing in and aware of the activities of the mind in me. I am breathing out and aware of the activities of the mind in me. The eighth breath. I am breathing in and making the activities of the mind in me calm and at peace. I am breathing out and making the activities of the mind in me calm and at peace. These two breaths enable you to look deeply at all the feelings arising within you, whether they are pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, and enable you to make those feelings calm and at peace. The activities of the mind means, in this case, the feelings. When you are aware of your feelings and can see deeply into their roots in nature, you can control them and make them calm and at peace, even though they may be unpleasant thoughts which arise from desire, anger, and jealousy. The ninth breath. I am breathing in and am aware of my mind. I am breathing out and am aware of my mind. The 10th breath. I am breathing in and making my mind happy and at peace. I am breathing out and making my mind happy and at peace. The 11th breath. I am breathing in and concentrating my mind. I am breathing out and concentrating my mind. The 12th breath. I am breathing in and liberating my mind. I am breathing out and liberating my mind. With these 4 breaths, you pass into the 3rd domain, which is mind. The 9th breath enables you to recognize all the states of the mind, such as perceptions, thinking, discrimination, happiness, sadness, and doubt. You recognize and observe these states in order to see deeply into the mind's activities. When the mind's activities are observed and recognized, you are able to concentrate your mind, making it quiet and at peace. This is brought about by the 10th and 11th breaths. The 12th breath enables you to release all obstacles of the mind. Thanks to illuminating your mind, you can see the roots of all mental formations and thus overcome all obstacles. The 13th breath. I am breathing in and observing the impermanent nature of all Dharma. I am breathing out and observing the impermanent nature of all Dharma. The 14th breath. I am breathing in and observing the fading of all Dharma. I am breathing out and observing the fading of all Dharma. The 15th breath. I am breathing in and contemplating liberation. I am breathing out and contemplating liberation. The 16th breath. I am breathing in and contemplating letting go. I am breathing out and contemplating letting go. With these 4 breaths, the practitioner passes into the domain of objects of the mind and concentrates the mind in order to observe the true nature of all Dharma. First is the observation of the impermanent nature of all dharmas. Because all dharmas are impermanent, they all must fade. When you clearly understand the impermanent and fading nature of all dharmas, you are no longer bound by the endless cycle of birth and death. Thanks to that, you can let go and attain liberation. Letting go does not mean disdaining or running away from life. Letting go means letting go of craving and clinging so you do not suffer from the endless cycles of birth and death to which all dharmas are subject. Once you let go and attain liberation, you can live in peace and joy in the very midst of life. There is no longer anything which can bind you. So taught the Buddha how to observe deeply the body, feelings, mind, and objects of the mind through 16 methods of conscious breathing. He also applied the 16 exercises to practicing the 7 factors of awakening, which are full attention, investigating Dharma, energy, joy, ease, concentration, and letting go. Thanks, everyone. We will now maintain noble silence until the start of service. And just a reminder, welcome to everybody. If you're not familiar with the temple protocols on the, looks like page 1 of the handbook, I would just encourage you to take a look. It covers some of the aspects of the bowing when entering and leaving the Dharma hall, as well as when we arrive at our cushion or chair. And just a reminder to try and keep our mats and cushions fluffed and arranged when we enter and leave the space. Thank you so much.
Now it's time to invite our greeters, our incense lighters to come up and light the incense. And if you turn to the first page? Yeah. Second page says Sunday service, and we will say together the incense lighting gatha. Together we say, in gratitude we offer this incense of space and time to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May it be fragrant as earth herself, reflecting careful efforts, wholehearted awareness, and filled understanding, slowly ripening. May we and all Buddhas be compassionate Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May we awaken from forgetfulness and realize our true home. And we bow. Good morning, Sangha. So we've got a few little preliminaries here. Please don't walk in front of the dais as we're having our talk, our service. Go around the outside, please. There are 2 bathrooms out there and 1 bathroom downstairs. If you need to take a break for any reason, go down there. That's it. Let's stand up and greet each other silently. All right, let's turn our pages and our booklets to so it's on page 3. I go
For refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Dharma, the path of mindful living, leading to healing, joy, and enlightenment, the way of peace, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to the Sangha, the loving and supportive community of practice, realizing harmony, awareness, and liberation, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I am aware that the 3 jewels are within my heart. I vow to realize them. I vow to practice mindful breathing and smiling, looking deeply into things. I vow to understand living beings and their suffering. I vow to cultivate loving kindness and compassion, and to practice joy and equanimity. I vow to offer joy to one person in the morning, and to help relieve the grief of one person in the afternoon. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to let go of all worry and anxiety in order to be light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust, to practice wholeheartedly, so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be free from their suffering. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts.
And now we're at the Heart Sutra on page 4.
From the deep practice of prajna, paramita, perceive the emptiness of all 5 skandhas, and deliver all beings from their suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness no other than form, form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They are not born nor annihilated. They are not defiled nor immaculate. They do not increase nor decrease. So in emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, no consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. No form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind. No realm of sight. No realm of consciousness. No ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance. No old age and death, nor extinction of them. No suffering, no cause of suffering, no cease from suffering, no path to lead out of suffering, no knowledge, no attainment, no realization, for there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva holds on to nothing but prajna, paramita. Therefore, the mind is clear of any delusive hindrance. Without hindrance, there is no fear. Away from all delusive views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in prajna, paramita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the prajna, paramita, is the great Dharma, the radiant fearless mantram, the utmost supreme mantram, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Proclaim now the highest wisdom, the prajna, paramita. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisattva. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisattva. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisattva. Prajna, paramita, hridaya, sutra.
Please have a seat. Good morning again, Sangha.
Good morning. Good morning.
This bowl has been sitting here for quite a while. And I don't know why I haven't done this before. This bowl was given This bowl was owned by Linda Joy Vasquez and Henry Vasquez. They were here at the very beginning, or she was. He passed away. He was a quadriplegic, a very unique quadriplegic, in that his brainstem was burnt on the last treatment he had of radiation, but he survived. And this was an experimental machine at that time. So his life was like the story of Job. He just slowly went down. He could walk, he could use a chair for a while, and then when I met him, the only thing he could do was sit in front of the TV. Linda Joy would put him in a Hoyer. She had to go to work, and he would sit there and he could move this thumb and change the channels on TV as it went. And he also was very hard to understand because he couldn't get a full lung of air. So at the end, he was blind and lost everything. And I only heard him complain once. He said, "Mark, what have I done? What have I done to deserve this?" And that was the only time he said it. And I just automatically said, "Hell no, Henry. You're a bodhisattva. You've taught so many people how to love." And now where they are, I think both of them are bodhisattvas. And so I'm invoking their presence like we do with the Avalokiteshvara and the rest. And I'm going to try to sing this bowl at Linda's Joy's funeral. And First Teacher was there. I tried to get this bowl to sing, and I couldn't. But we'll see if we can get it this. Thank you, Linda Joy and Henry, for being in my life. Now I'd like you to stand up again. And those of you that know it by heart, please repeat it. We're going to do the refuge vow, the first one. I go for refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. A lot of you know that. If you don't worry about it. And we can't do full prostration, so we're going to go like this, and maybe you can shift so you don't hit each other a little bit. And here's how we're going to do it. We're going to go like this, and down like this. And when we're down like this, we'll say it. And then we'll come up and we'll do this 3 times. Okay? I go
For refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully.
I
Go for refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully.
Please have a seat. This thing's going to hit me in the head. So refuge is defined by Webster as the state of being safe, sheltered from pursuit, danger, or difficulty. That refuge vow that we just said doesn't say I go for refuge to the historical Buddha, does it? Doesn't say I go to refuge to this wood. Typically, we tell the story of Buddha's enlightenment. I don't think he'd approve. If he was here, why are you talking about me? I mean, Thich Nhat Hanh had it. My deeply awakened mind. My deeply awakened mind. So we're going to explore, how do we get that? How do we get that deeply awakened mind? Because I guarantee you, each and every one of you have had that at some point, felt in the flow with music, whatever it was. And then you went to sleep again. So it's about stringing more of those moments of clarity and less mindlessness. So the first step, it's kind of like AA. The first step is to say you have some kind of problem and you came here. Most people came here looking for some kind of peace. And the next step is to clear away all of the negative karma. How do we do that to clear it away? And I said it once before, and I'd say it again. I'm an old timer, and I didn't have any choice in it, and I don't want it. I mean, I'm retired. I'm senior teacher emeritus, retired. The Dharma Council changed the word for all evil karma to all unskillful actions, and that can work. And if that works for you, fine. What works for me is for all evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born in my body, mouth, and thoughts, now I atone for it all. We say that over and over every Sunday, right? We say unskillful action. In AA, we have something called making amends. And the way we can, the way we can make amends here is to realize what we've done, to realize and be aware of how we've hurt someone. And then we atone for it. In AA, it continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. So you don't have to be in AA to do that, right? Just admit where you were wrong. And evil, when I say evil, evil isn't permanent, folks. It's not forever. It's not burning hell forever. But we certainly can put ourselves into burning hell. And then we get out of it. And then we can put ourselves a little less into it. But evil is not permanent. It might take a couple of big bangs for a few of us to get it. Okay, I'm going to do something, a song that no longer is copywritten, so I can play it. Yeah, I had problems with that during the pandemic. Somebody's giggling. I wanted to play some songs from "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" That didn't go over so well. So this is a wonderful little thing. This little Bluetooth speaker, I think it was $150, and I have Spotify for, $12 a month. So we're going to do something different. We're going to listen to the song Amazing Grace. John Newton, author of Amazing Grace, was once a slave ship master who saw the light, reformed his ways, and became one of the most influential people in history for the abolition of the slave trade. His influence, particularly on William Wilberforce, helped to push the British Parliament to abolish slavery in 1807. So a Buddhist might say amazing merit. What kind of merit did this guy do to put that much energy into this horrible situation? So we'll start and end with 3 strikes of the bowls. You're going to hear 2 different versions, and then we're just going to sit for a while and allow this beautiful music to flow.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, we have already come. 'Twas grace that brought us safe thus far, and grace will lead us home. Oh, amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Was grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Amazing grace.
And we bow. The word that really bothered me about this song until I realized what it was all about was wretch. And it's defined as an unfortunate or unhappy person, a miserable creature. Yeah, I've been there. So this whole thing was to clear a channel, right? To atone, to open ourselves up so that we can give love better. We give love, but all the stuff that's in us twists it and turns it sometimes, and it isn't pure. So I've heard the term, you can't love somebody unless you love yourself. Kinda, yeah. That twisty and turny, you have a lot more arguments, but when you really have a clear channel, that can bring love. So what's all that about? Well, we have a unique opportunity to wake up with this world and the way it is. I heard on the radio I heard in his own voice, President-elect Trump say that he's going to fashion his deportation of people, and he says 13 million, after the 1954 deportation done by Eisenhower. That 1954 program was, this is not my words, it was called wetback deportation. A very nasty slur. And Trump is fashioning his program after that. And you know how they qualified whether you were deported or not? You looked Mexican. So I hear some people go, well, I've got citizenship. I don't have to. If you think he's even close to getting 13 million, the madness that is going to take over, you don't know. You're not safe. We're not safe, folks. That's why I say we go to refuge, to the Buddha, our deeply awakened mind. We need a refuge. And what do you think was going on in 1954? Well, certainly they were after the Mexican people. People of color were badly treating black people in the South. There were still lynchings going on. Quite, there were still lynchings going on, and it was commonplace. And Asians and Native Americans were there. And women, oh my God, 1954 women. You couldn't get a checking account on your own. You certainly couldn't get a credit card. What the hell else in 1954 couldn't you do? A whole bunch of stuff. He wants to turn back the clock at least until 1954. Another thing I ran across, and probably some of you have heard about it, it's the doomsday clock. And I'll read the description. A symbolic clock representing how close humanity is to global catastrophe, created in 1947 by the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists, a group formed by scientists who worked on the Manhattan Project following the development of the atomic bomb and the bombing of Japan twice in World War II. The clock is meant to warn the public about the dangers of nuclear weapons and other existential threats, with midnight signifying a catastrophic event like nuclear war, and its minute hand is adjusted. Its minute hand is adjusted annually based on the perceived level of global destruction. So these scientists get together, and it's science, so they're, and it's predicting something, but these are very smart people who know a lot and are watching the world as a whole and how dangerous it's gotten. So when I thought of this, our clock right now is at 90 seconds to midnight. And I thought, well, I lived through the Cuban Missile Crisis, and I thought, oh, it must have been almost that bad. No. It was like 3 minutes or 4 minutes. So it's been going downhill, but 90 seconds now, and that's for 2024. In 2025, well, you got Putin and Trump. They talked 7 times while Trump had no ongoing status other than former president. And Putin praises him for his work, praises Trump. And in the same speech that he gave, he once again threatened Ukraine with nuclear weapons. When I get that, it's like, well, the other thing, wait a minute. I just missed a whole thing here, folks. Go back to 1954. Or no. Go back. I'm a little off. The reason the Mexican people are so important to me, and the reason this is on Crooked, all these are important to me. And I'm not wearing this like I did once. Anyway. So I was in San Francisco in the early 70s in a place called Delancey Street. And I could spend a lot of time talking about it. But basically, there was a genius who set up a halfway house. And the place I worked was the old Russian consulate at the top of Pacific Heights, the richest neighborhood in San Francisco. We were right across the street from J. Paul Getty. And how do you do that? I think there was 130 or 40 people at that point in the program who were mostly paroled, various forms of criminals, from the very worst, the ones that are parolable. And I was just a little hippie hanging on because my brother was there. So we had political clout. And when there was a strike, we were there in the morning first thing with donuts and coffee. Well, I became involved with United Farm Workers. I knew Cesar Chavez personally. We played handball together, the president of the United Farm Workers. He went on a 1,000-mile march starting at the Mexican border, marched up to San Francisco, and then back around down to, I think, Fresno. And I picked him up in San Francisco. We were at war, folks. We were at war. People in that Central Valley, one of the, all the farms that are there, the huge amount of money that's involved in that farming, was under attack. My dad hated him, and my dad wasn't a racist. He just, I don't think he was. But he was intimately involved with the farming community, and they didn't want to pay righteous wages. They wanted to have the short handle hoe so they could just look out over their plantations. And if you weren't bent over like this, you're not working. So those, horrible situations with living. And so we marched. And as we marched through the neighborhoods and down Highway 99 toward Fresno, it wasn't me, I don't think. Now, this is a long time ago. This is the summer of 1975, which is hot as hell. and we're marching through, walking through, probably 40 or 50 of us in the desolate places. And one time, a beer bottle coming from a couple of rednecks in a pickup went right between Caesar's head and somebody who was standing next to him. It wasn't me. I learned how to drive a car through the neighborhoods at night in a sedan with 5 of us in it. And I learned how to drive so I didn't get shot, and so Caesar didn't get shot. So the other 3 of us who were sitting there were all just targets. Caesar is my hero because I got to live with a man who was trying to emulate Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King. He was absolutely about nonviolence. And I forget, 1991 or 92, he didn't know what else to do. He was so frustrated with the progress that was going on with getting the farming. Some progress had been made, but he was still very concerned about pesticides being used and killing farm workers. And undocumented Mexican farm workers are about the most abused you can possibly be. They can say, we're not going to pay you. What are you going to do? Oh, these working conditions? Well, go find another job. The most marginalized people in the world. What the hell do you do with that? I mean, this whole thing, this whole Trump thing has me so spun. I was angry. I grabbed this hat, and I got to tell you the truth. Let's go. Come on. I'm just wearing it, just looking for a fight. I mean, I felt that energy inside. And I go, oops, well, can't be a Buddhist and carry around that. I mean, in Lojong, it says, in my every action, I watch my mind, and the moment destructive emotions arise, I confront them strongly and avert them, since they will hurt both me and others. Absolutely true, no argument. The moment I see, well, it took me more than a few moments to get over this thing. And it still comes up again. I hear another thing that he proposes, and I hear a woman dying because a doctor is scared to help her with a miscarriage. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know when he actually takes office. We don't know. What I know for absolute sure, people are terrified and we feel impotent. And what the hell do we do? Well, I've got a booklet here. Oh, yeah. It'll be out in the front and go downstairs. What I hope to do is create a resistance team. It's got to come. It's not going to be all me. I can organize it, but then it's got to be people. If your passion is LGBTQ, if your passion is Black Lives Matter, if your passion is the Mexican people, if your I don't have one here for Planned Parenthood, but women's right, there's going to be a patch here, and it's good. I've already got them, and it's an ugly, God blessed patch. It's a coat hanger with an X through it. It's hard. So this is what we can do, and we can figure out. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do personally, except where that that the hat has switched for me to now. I heard when I wear it, I heard one negative thing, which I wear stuff like this all the time, and I'd never heard a negative thing, but somebody went. I was like, okay. I was in a good mood. It was like, okay, go for it. But what really warms my heart is when people go nice hat. I don't know what their energy is or what their fear is, but they're identifying on some level and seeing me as an ally. And that makes me feel good. And when I do the gay thing, they don't know whether I'm gay or not. And I thought about that and go, oh, I could suffer the same as a gay. They don't know what I am. You know, it's like, so I try not to lead with my chin, but on the other hand, you know, do what's necessary. And there's going to be demonstrations and I'll be there. If there's gunfire, I probably will back away. But with the potential for all that's going on, there's a lot we can do. So what I'm asking you now, people at home, you have my email. See who else you can get to join this group. It doesn't just have to be this temple. You know other people. If they feel the same way, if they feel impotent, if they feel like, oh my God, this thing's coming to an end. When Gandhi created a national strike, and he started out very small. When he created that strike, it terrified the British Empire. They were cut off from the empire and they knew it was over. The people had the power. And we've known this all along. If we organize, we have much more power than every Elon dang Musk on the planet. They're scared of us. That's why they keep us fighting against each other. That's why this insanity of Trump and Kamala, in some ways, it's the same thing. Both sides have similar feelings about disenfranchised, and Trump appealed to more. But I personally can't stand by and watch this. I have to get involved. And I'll tell you what, folks, when I first came in here, or I've heard about karma before, is karma is action. Okay. There's consequences for inaction too. Just to sit here when you know you can do something, when you can put yourself at some risk, worthwhile risk, and each and every one of us has to decide what we're willing to risk. My AA sponsor says, I'm white. I'm going white. And that's 31% of us. We're safe, right? Probably, unless they think we look Mexican. So I'll have a sign-up sheet down here. You have my email address. And I leave for California on the 15th. We'll just see when we want to have our first meeting. Next week I'll be here. I'll be here each Sunday and we can talk and this has got to be on Zoom. I'm hoping we're big enough to have, well, it's going to be on Zoom for me anyway. Maybe some of us can meet here live and have it on Zoom like we do the recovery program. Any questions about this? Let's wait. We need to get so we can hear you. And please speak up a little bit so we can hear you.
Hello?
People, yeah.
All right.
At home can hear you
So
also.
thank you. My point is you can do a peaceful protest always, right? Because this is your voice. You are just saying, I don't agree with that. And I think that's fantastic. But it has to lead, like we have to have somebody to choose. And I feel in United States is both parties are the same. So there is why it happened that Trump was elected, is because the other part failed. They failed big time. They went on huge promises and they just didn't do them. They did that. So, to go and do a protest, it can be, maybe can help, so they will, which I don't think they can deport so many millions. I think, these workers are needed and the companies will fight for them more than we can do, right? But yeah, so that's my point. That's I think Trump he just likes to talk, but I'm not sure how much he can accomplish with that. If the economy will start suffer, then he will not go on with the program. He quietly probably will stop. But I think most important is to have somebody you can vote for, and you have a party that can offer some programs for people and accomplish what they promise. Because other than that, who are we fighting for?
I agree.
Thank you.
Well, what I say is we don't know, right? I said that we don't know, but what I know for sure is people are terrified. And I know for sure some have died. And I know for sure some will get caught up. And I know for sure some children will be separated from their families and may never know where they are again. Because that happened in this last regime. So, it's about coming up with what can we do? And passive resistance, nonviolent resistance, not passive, nonviolent resistance. That, that's what got the independence for India, but then there was violence again, and the whole thing turned to hell. So hopefully that doesn't happen to us. And in this moment, everything is fine. In this moment. Any other comments, questions? Yes.
Hi. I just wanted to add to what you said as sort of maybe not an answer, but just how I view organizing and resistance. Personally, I'm really hoping that, and I feel pretty strongly that conversations like this are happening in a lot of different areas in the country right now. And I think if we're able to organize and band together, something that's really important is going to be having collective demands of the system, and all of us understanding that we never would have gotten in this situation in the first place if we lived in a government that actually did give its power to the people, and listen to citizens' needs. So, I mean, the way I've been viewing all of this is that we need to call for an end to the current system in general, or at least have a representative or a party that speaks for the people. So that's what I've been placing my emphasis on when it comes to resistance, if that helps at all.
Thanks. Yeah, both parties are run by billionaires. Money and power.
So I want to cover maybe a portion of some people's worries. At least it's part of my worry. Getting involved politically, I don't think that's something that we should demean for sure. It's very important. It's very important to get out there and yes, make changes in the system, and try to actually make definitive action happen in our government. That's all extremely important. We should never stop fighting for that. And we live in a country that supposedly encourages that among its citizens anyway. But, there are people that maybe they're scared, maybe they're just not used to and have no idea how to engage with that. And even thinking about politics is scary for them. And even listening to what people spoke about today, they don't understand quite how to take it in or what to do with it because it's unfamiliar territory. I think that nonviolent resistance and positive action takes place in every situation with every person you encounter with and every place you're in. So if you're concerned about, well, I'm not out in the streets, or, well, I don't know anybody that's affected by this, or, well, I just voted, but it didn't do anything, right? You can make positive action every single day and every single moment with everyone that you encounter with. Even if it's volunteering somewhere small or helping a family or a friend out with something that you usually don't. It can be as small or as big as you want it to be. But if you're concerned and you think that you're not doing enough, be the change that you want to be. Starting now and don't stop. So I just wanted to say that because, yes, politics is very important, but if you don't know how to engage with that, there's so much more in your life that you can do. So that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you. Well, we're at 11 o'clock. We have, two more. We got
Hi, I'm Sunjin.
Sunshine.
I guess I'll preface my comment with saying that I am queer, non-binary, pansexual, Mexican. So this thing's all, hit home for me. It's not about somebody that I love. It's about myself. Well, I'll say a couple things. First thing, just to sort of, like I said, somebody who's come from, as if you heard me talk before, from more of a Christian background, and I've seen how politics and religion can mix to become not very helpful in the country. I want to remind people of something called the Johnson Amendment, which a lot of people don't follow, but it does say that as a religious organization, we can't endorse specifically politicians or politics at risk of losing your nonprofit status, which, I wish people would call churches out on that and different organizations out on that, because you see it's not always the case. But I do think there's some wisdom in that internally too, because I always want to cultivate a space that is inclusive and welcoming, even if that means reaching out my sort of bodhisattva love to people who think differently than me, and may even be actively out to harm me. I gave up that privilege of being able to turn away on those people when I took my bodhisattva vows, and I doubled down on that when I took my vows to become a priest, and which means that I need to be able to have a welcoming space for people that may not welcome me. The other thing that I will say, and I hope that you take this to heart, Yong Su, I've given the talk on the three bodhisattvas, Manjushri, the bodhisattva of wisdom, Avalokitesvara, the bodhisattva of compassion, and Vajrapani, the bodhisattva of action. I challenge you to be very careful evoking Avalokitesvara and Vajrapani, that fiery compassion and that need to call to action, without also calling upon Manjushri, because you see so many movements that have happened with all the compassion and all the action, but without the wisdom to sort of temper that. And it's not always skillful. And sometimes the gains are very short-lived. I don't say that saying I know what the right thing is to do. But I will say, when in doubt, I kind of lean back on the three jewels. I'm going to do my best to cultivate a sangha around me that is, constantly cultivating, that compassion. I'm going to constantly seek to be the teacher that people need, and also see that teacher in other people, and to study the Dharma, and to know what the right things are. And also, just as my meditative practice to not be, reactive with the way the world and the things are, I need to know when my action is being fueled by greed, hate, and delusion, and not through that tempered compassion as well. I gave this sort of idea of the wobbly wheel last time when I talked. And I think I didn't complete that because I said, we just need to accept sometimes that the wheel's wobbly, but also some of that is knowing that, well, the right thing to do when my wheel is wobbly on my shopping cart is to fix it. And sometimes it is to swap the cart out for one that's not broken. And so I do think that there are times when action is needed. And not saying this to give a call to action or say what that is, but I want to make sure that we are calling upon all three bodhisattvas and stopping and pausing when we're missing any one of those, because any one of those without the other can be very dangerous. And we're dealing with big things. So I guess to sum it up is don't move without compassion. Don't move without wisdom. Don't act with compassion without movement. All the things above. And also be careful that if you're in this room and you've taken a bodhisattva vow, that is, we don't jump on the boat until everybody's on the boat. And unfortunately, that boat also includes Donald Trump. That includes the people in this room that voted differently than you because they felt that was the compassionate thing for the country. That includes my family members who don't, agree on the way that I love, but I have to make a space for them because I can see the potential and how they can grow. And I know that the Bodhisattva path is bigger than a political movement. And I want to make sure that it's never boiled down to just that or used in that way.
Thanks. Absolutely agreed. I obviously got some passion about this, but also I've taken those vows, and I've said that in here. I mean, if somebody comes in and wants some help, I don't care how you voted. And in my commitment, just like in AA, if somebody wants sponsorship, I don't care how you voted. If we decide to get into this at all, it's a support group for people that are suffering. And then there might be some actions we take, maybe. If I decide to go on a march, doesn't believe, oh, come on, team, let's, it's like, if we have people with passion, or with concern, or with, feeling that they need to do some action, then we need to support that in whatever is in our heart in a loving manner. Obviously, when I talk about Gandhi and Martin Luther King and Caesar, they were moving the right way. And it isn't about one particular personality or the other. It's about the policies. So, yeah. And I'm human. So if this process does continue and you feel uncomfortable, I sure hope somebody comes and says, hey, I think you're off base on this. Okay, so with that, I think we've gotten through our joys and concerns. It's 10 after. Good grief. This hat is up here. I've got a vendor who is interested in giving us a price on when we used to sell handbags and shirts and other things with our logo on it. We don't have a logo yet, and that'll, if we use the logo in whatever way we do, that's got to come from the board, and the clergy's got to agree. But if you want just a hat that says Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple, let me know. If you want to put some patches on like that, you can get them on Amazon and we can get them sewed on for you. So if that interests you, let me know. The sign-up sheet will be down here, or email me. So I think with that, we'll do our closing. Or wait a minute, announcements. Jeez, long-winded here. I beat you, Sunshine. Kunga, I'm sorry.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Yong Su. A few December announcements. Online meditation group meets Wednesdays from 6 to 6:45 p.m. via Zoom. You can contact Venerable Kunganima or see the newsletter for more information. And the Wednesday, December 25th, Christmas Day, online meditation group will not be meeting. After the service today, we have a potluck downstairs. Hope you're able to join us. There's also a Dharma discussion group on Thursdays from 9:30 to 11, and you can contact Reverend Yong Su, Ryan Duffield, or see the newsletter for more information. The Avatamsaka Sutra study group is every other Thursday from 7 to 9 at the temple, and you can contact Will Ellington or Reverend Jason Su, Shane Weimer. The Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple Board meeting will be Sunday, December 15th, and you're welcome to observe that if you'd like to. It's from 11:30 to 1 at the temple downstairs. The Bodhisattva, well, next Sunday, our preceptors will be having a graduation ceremony, if that's the right terminology, and there will be a potluck after that. So hope you're able to join. Also, Friday, December 27th, there will be a twilight service from 6 to 8 p.m. I think that's being facilitated by Reverend Igesu. Sunday, December 29th, there will not be any service. And just a quick call out that in January, starting January 4th, that Saturday, the Bodhisattva preceptors will be meeting, and that program will go through August 3rd. It's a great opportunity to deepen your practice and your study and your understanding of the teachings with a community, with a group. Highly encourage everyone to consider that. And lastly, Sunday, January 5th, there will not be any service. It's quite possible I missed some announcements. So anything else? Anyone? All right. And just a reminder, there are Dana boxes on either end of the temple with a QR code. You can also log into PayPal, I think, through the website. So appreciate your generosity, and thank you all so much. Thanks.
And now we'll rise and go to page 4 for a closing document. Page 6. Oh, page 6. Uh-oh. Sorry.
For all unskillful action ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, now I atone for them all. Vast is the robe of compassion, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Buddha's teachings for the benefit of all sentient beings. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless blind passion, I vow to uproot. Dharma gates without number, I vow to enter. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain.
And now let's split right. The rest of this booklet will be around.
Also, if you'd like to grab a chair and bring it downstairs with you, that would be helpful. Thank you.